what's up? This is Patrick. Welcome to episode 36 of the Double ETF podcast, Everything Except the Football. I hope you guys are doing great. Today, we have part 3, exceptionally, part 3 of my conversation with Lisa Solak. There were a couple more anecdotes to be told, to be honest, so might as well have a part 3, you know? I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. I also used some new editing software for this part. I like the result. Hopefully you won't mind too much. What else? If you guys want to drop us a line, you can do so at EETFpod on Twitter or EETFpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to be part of the awesome club and join Carly, Kevin, Josh, Nick, and Bags, Carly again, Hector, Tom Neuerberg, Tony Greathouse, RJ, Woody, Mike Drew, and Lisa, you can do so, and it would be amazing at paypal.me/EETFpod, or you can leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that's it. Without further ado, here is part 3 of my conversation with Lisa Solak. Thanks. All right, so welcome to part 3. Welcome back, Lisa.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. So yeah, we are recording this a few days after the original sections of the conversation, because what I had in mind was I knew that you had a few more anecdotes to tell, and we had a few good ones in the previous parts, but I thought that, there was a little bit more there. So exceptionally, we are doing this part number 3. And I also realized that there was something I forgot to ask you last time, Lisa. What would be your 3 music hot takes?
Okay. My first one, and this is more personal, is I don't like Tom Petty at all.
Okay.
And I know a lot of my friends like him, and a lot of my Twitter friends do, and a lot of the Name That Tune folks do, but me, no. If I had to pick a song that I liked by him, it would probably have to be Refugee from the very early days.
Okay.
But anything after that, nope. I just can't do it.
And does that include Cheap Trick as well? Or just the solo work?
Cheap Trick.
Well, I mean, Cheap Trick with Tom Petty.
I didn't know Cheap.
So, like,
no, it's just Tom Petty. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. What am I doing, Cheap Trick? Jesus. Sorry.
I'm like,
wow.
Holy crap, I missed all sorts of Cheap Trick's catalog.
Yes. Oh my God. Wow. Well, okay. Yeah. We are recording on a Friday afternoon and it shows. Yes, I meant Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just not my bag at all.
I get that. Yep. I think, and I would agree as well. I think the one I would like most is probably Running Down a Dream.
Okay.
But everything else I can leave, I think, honestly.
Yeah, just not in my wheelhouse at all. So that's hot take number 1.
Yeah, I'm still not getting over my dumb mistake. Cheap Trick, Jesus. Oh God. Okay, so let's regroup and move on to hot take number 2.
Another band I do not like that surprises people is I do not like the Sex Pistols.
Oh, okay.
I think they are a overrated punk boy band.
Okay.
So it's and what's ironic is they were sort of my segue into punk. Teacher gave me their cassette, dating myself here, their cassette when I was, I think, in the 7th grade and said, I think you would like these guys. And I remember it blew my mind. But afterwards, after I experienced other bands, I was like, crap. Especially learning that Sid Vicious doesn't even play on Nevermind the Bollocks. It's another bass player. The man couldn't play a note.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard that in several places. I haven't really investigated it, but apparently a professional bass player played on that, and he did not.
So he was there only for the for the eye candy, or what?
Yeah. He was, your ultimate punk guy,
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, it was just a manufactured boy band from Malcolm McLaren, and it just no.
Huh.
No,
Okay.
they were there for shock value, and that was it. But what's funny is, even though I don't like their music, I still love their movie, Great Rock and Roll Swindle, because they pretty much are telling you to your face as you're watching it, we are screwing you over.
Okay.
And the movie is highly amusing because it's an interesting look into the machine in a sort of funny way.
I've never heard of that movie. What's the title again? In case
called The Great Rock and Roll Swindle.
Okay, all right.
And it has some doozy songs in it. It has Sid Vicious's "My Way" in there.
Okay.
It has a pirate song called "Friggin' and the Riggin'," which is my favorite.
Yes.
And it has Ten Pole Tudor in there, and he does a couple songs, and it's a fun movie.
All right.
Even though I don't like the band.
Okay. I think the only version I know of Friggin' and the Riggin' is the one from Anthrax.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You gotta hear the Sex Pistols version.
Okay.
It's hysterical.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So what would be hot take number 3?
After watching the Get Back documentary, which I'm still not fully through because I keep falling asleep. I mean, there's some stretches where I'm like, holy cow, okay, I'm done. Yoko was totally a scapegoat.
Uh-huh.
I cannot believe that she did not stand up for herself more in the 70s and the 80s when everybody was blaming her. It was amazing. And there's one scene where Paul's talking about her, saying, yeah, they're going to blame her. They're going to blame her for everything. She sat on an amp and the Beatles broke up. And I'm sitting there watching it going, holy shit. That's exactly what we did as a society. So do I like her music? No, I don't. She can put tape over her mouth for as far as I'm concerned. But for what she was doing, yeah, she was totally scapegoated.
Huh.
Because I don't think if she wasn't there, John wouldn't be there.
Okay.
If anything, she was holding that shit together on John's part.
Okay, so John was had enough, and had it not been for Yoko being there, he would have left before.
I think in the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
It seemed like he was checking out, and she was just like, okay, I'm going to have to be here. Because you see her sitting there, she's checking mail, she's doing her nails. She doesn't want to be there, but she's there because she knows that she has to be there. She wasn't there trying to intrude. This is all obviously all my opinion. But, So, yeah, I think she's totally scapegoated.
I'm wondering if, and this is a small aside, but I'm wondering if a conversation from a few people in the Name That Tune group about specifically Get Back, I wonder if it would be worth doing that,
It might be.
Because
there's some eye-opening. I lock horns with a certain other Name That Tune person about George.
Okay.
He thinks George is a big fat baby. And I think George was justified in being pissed off and walking out. So there's a lot of opinions. And I really have to sit down and finish the rest of it. Who knows? Maybe George does implode in a really titty baby way, but I haven't seen it yet.
How far along are you in the doc?
I am up almost into episode 3. So
okay, that was a third hot take, right?
Yeah, that was my third.
Wow. I'm sorry, and I apologize to the listeners as well. Yeah, I am brain dead today, but I'm gonna try and power through.
That's okay. You're doing great.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so moving on to some anecdotes. We talked about it a little bit before recording. I have no idea what they will be, but they don't have to be specifically about music. They can be about anything at all.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to hearing them. So please feel free to go ahead with whichever you want.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the top one that I know you're thinking about, and that is the Tiffany incident of 1987. So outside of Chicago and Schaumburg, there is a mall called Woodfield, and it's pretty damn big. I don't know size wise how it compares to other malls in the U.S., but from what I understand, it's one of the bigger ones, and that's where everybody hung out. It didn't matter what group you were in or anything. So I went there with some of my friends in high school who are going to rename nameless
Mm-hmm.
for this story. Went with a few friends and my sister, and there were other groups of the punks, quote unquote, there. And then, you have your shoppers and your teeny boppers, and everybody else was there. But for some reason that day, there were a lot of us, the dark haired,
Goth.
dark gothy kids we were really roaming the mall that day. And after we went to lunch at McDonald's, we went to the top tier. There was 3 levels, and we were up on the top level, and we were walking across, and we noticed that there was a stage set up in the middle of the mall, and music started playing, and we're like, what the hell is this? And we see all these little teeny bopper tween girls, the little 13-year-olds and the 12-year-olds, all dancing around the stage, and we're like, what? So we stop, and we're leaning over the railing, and we're watching, and here comes this redheaded girl just dancing and singing and bopping along, and it was such an eye roll moment. We're like, is this a concert at a mall? What the hell is that? And we're laughing at her, and we're making fun of her because and I'm trying to, I don't think we ever really heard of Tiffany. I think the mall tour came before her single. I think
Okay,
this was
that was my next question.
yeah, I think this was like a getting to know you introductory tour,
Okay.
if I'm correct, because I don't think I knew who the hell it was when this happened. And I had a Coke in my hand, and I was almost done with it. And another male friend of mine had a Coke in his hand, and we just looked at each other, and we didn't say anything, but we both whipped our Cokes at her, from the third fuel. And obviously really didn't stick around to see what happened because we obviously took off.
Obviously.
And as we were running, we heard the music stop. So we're like, oh, we must have hit a mark,
Bullseye.
And we went down one of the, the other wings where another department store wing was, and we were sitting there cracking up, and there was about 6 or 7 of us, and here comes mall security, and we're like, oh, crap. And at this point, another friend of mine decided to start like fake breakdancing, and he was like, and so picture like a goth kid with a mohawk trying to do the worm, in the middle of the mall. So the security guards pull him up and tell him to knock it off. We're making a ruckus, and they're looking at us, and they see other kids holding McDonald's stuff, and they're like, you better leave right now or we're going to arrest you.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And we left. And later that night, and not, we were joking about it, not really thinking anything of it. And that night we were watching the news, and it showed her on TV, Tiffany doing national mall tour, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's the girl I threw the Coke at. Obviously, the incident wasn't reported on. Nobody said anything that, beverages were thrown because you're in the middle. You can't really do that today. You're in the middle of a mall. And if this was a mall tour, I'm wondering how many other things were thrown at her. maybe not even maliciously, but kids dropping things over a railing or,
Yeah.
oh, look at this, throwing a stuffed animal at her or something.
One drink could have been an accident, but two drinks at the same time?
Yeah. And they didn't fall straight. There was a
Yes.
there was a
There was a curve.
trajectory there,
Yes.
So there was some aiming there. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was in a mall today, I mean, there's nobody in a mall anymore today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. And security would be a lot different.
true. Yes.
There would have been people on each level at the railings. There's no way we would have been able to even pull our arm back to get into throwing motion without getting tackled to the ground.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, so that's story one.
What day of the week was it?
I don't know. I don't remember if it was during the summer or if it was a weekend. In the 80s, Woodfield was packed solid all the time. So,
okay. Wow.
So that's it. Someone must have looked up. I mean, it's not like we could blend. They probably saw like the sea of black running after the Coke went flying. But yeah.
Nice. Bullseye. Maybe there was a career in baseball for one of you.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. And I did do a little bit of Google searching and maybe some YouTube to see if there was some old footage, if somebody was videotaping it or something. But no luck. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, it would have been the new Zapruder film. There you go.
Oh my God.
All right. Excellent. So we are off to an excellent start. What's your number two?
Number two is sports related. Again, outside of Chicago. I worked in Hoffman Estates, which was right next to a town called South Barrington. And South Barrington had a lot of Bears players that lived there.
Okay.
So there's certain areas where the Bears live, and the South Barrington was one of them. And I worked at Kmart, nothing glamorous at all. And it was in a mall, and I was on one side of the mall, and my sister worked at Walgreens on the other side of the wall. That's the drugstore. And Walter Payton from the Bears, good old number 34, lived practically behind this mall. He lived in South Barrington, right stone's throw from us. So he would come in quite a bit. And it would be funny because he would go to Walgreens first. And they did like film developing or, things like that. So my sister would call me and she's like, and I'd be at work. So she'd call me at work. And I worked at the customer center, like the customer service desk. So I would answer the phone and she'd be like, Lisa, Walter's coming. Kick ass, and sure as shit, 5 minutes later, he'll stroll in. Now, this was 90, 91.
Okay.
Ish. Yeah, because that's when I worked there, about in the very early 90s, maybe late 89, 90, 91. And he would always roll in late.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be very many people in there at all, maybe a half hour to close. And he would come in and we'd wave to him, be like, hi, Walter. And he'd be like, hi. And since I was behind the counter for customer service, I couldn't leave. I couldn't run out and get his autograph or high five or anything. I had to stay where I stayed because that's where all the refund money was and everything. And you couldn't leave there. And he would head to the sporting department and you would see all the kids that worked there, because it was always kids that worked at these retail jobs. And you would see the kids working start to move their way towards sporting goods, like, there's here. And they'd start coming. And they would play football. They'd play catch. And for about 15 minutes, just shooting the shit, playing catch. He'd talk to the kids, ask them how they were doing, how's school going, how's work going, toss the football around. And I don't remember him ever buying anything. It's just like he came in to say hello and to hang out with the kids. And then he would leave. And as he was leaving, I'd be like, bye, Walter. He'd be like, bye. And then away he'd go. And he did this several times. And it was fantastic because he was one of my favorite players. And it just made me like him more because there's no reason for him to come in except to hang out with kids. He knew that's when the high school and the younger college kids were. And he would just go hang out, toss the football around, and just be a cool guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he still playing at the time? I could look it up, but
yeah, I don't think he was. I think this was after he was playing.
Okay.
I don't know when he retired.
87.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
So yeah, he was retired already. And sometimes, you'd be out and about in the Schaumburg area, shopping, Schaumburger Hoffman Estates area, and you'd run into him at the store. And it was just, my sister and I ran into him in a photography store, and I'm very shy by nature, believe it or not. And we saw him, and I ran away because I didn't want to bother him. And my sister marched right up to him and said, I'm a huge fan, and shook his hand. I was just like, well, okay. I'm like hiding behind a film counter.
5'10", 200 pounds. I thought he was taller than that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, interesting.
No, that's why he was able to move that well.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, you had like big guys like Marcus Allen was fairly tall, I think, and Eric Dickerson as well, if I remember. But, Barry Sanders was tiny.
Yeah.
Well, tiny, quote unquote tiny, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. His talent was in his legs and in that stiff arm of his.
Yes. So his nickname was Sweetness, if I remember right. And do you know where that nickname came from?
I do, but I don't remember. It's been, I don't know how many times it's been talked about. Why you know that, or did you look it up?
No, I didn't know. I don't know. Because I was like, for half a second, I assume it was because he was so nice.
He wasn't nice to his teammates. He was a big prankster.
Ah, okay. Didn't know that.
So, yeah, he was a big prankster, probably for his sweet moves on the field. Who knows?
Yes,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah. I can't remember where he gets it from. And what else is funny is his voice didn't really match him. Okay. You're thinking football players, Chicago Bears, and it was a softer, more higher pitch voice.
Okay.
And it was always surprising to hear him talk.
A little bit like Mike Tyson, kind of.
yeah, or like David Beckham.
Yes, also true. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so rest in peace, Walter Payton. He died in 99, it says here.
I
think it was pancreatic cancer, I think, or something, or liver.
Liver, I believe, and it kills me because I remember him going on TV saying that he was dying and needed a transplant.
Okay.
Like a donor would save his life, and they didn't find one in time. And I think of today where with the internet and everything, they probably could have found one for him.
Yeah.
Just a few years later.
That's true.
They would have found one. And it kills me because he was an extraordinary man.
Yeah.
And he was gone too soon.
He was 45. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. For some reason, I thought he was older. Okay. It's bile duct cancer.
Okay.
Okay. So, that's a downer. Jesus.
Yeah. Bring us down, man. Bring us down.
All right. So let's try and power through.
Okay, we can do this.
Move on to number 3.
Okay. So in episode 1, I talked about Tim McGraw.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was part of the Illinois State University Entertainment Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of people coming through there. And probably the next best story associated with that would be Harry Connick Jr.
Oh, okay.
Now, as I talked about in episode 1, we had different jobs. And for Harry, I was part of the hospitality team. And the hospitality team, they look through the rider and make sure that their dressing room is up to standards, up to their standards.
Okay.
So I had his rider and I had everything he needed. And what he needed was very simple. Just he needed a lot of towels.
Okay.
I remember he wanted towels and he wanted like some flowers, just something to make it look nice in there. And I think something like a fruit plate or, some healthy snacks. It's like, okay, no problem. So when you look at their schedule, you look at what time they load in. And that's usually, the artist usually isn't even part of load in. That's when the trucks come and the stage crew comes and sets up lights and sound. And he wasn't due to arrive until I think like 5 p.m.
Okay.
So I had the keys. I go down to the dressing room area. I had a stack of towels in my hand, and the trucks just came. There were no limos, no buses around. So I'm thinking he is nowhere near here yet. And I go down to the dressing room. I stick my key in it, open the door. Of course, I'm not knocking. It's empty.
Sure.
And I remember unlocking the door and I was like juggling the towel. So I kicked the door open. Okay. Well, he was there. And not only was he there, he was in his underwear. He was, he wasn't in tidy whities, thank God. He was in some boxer shorts.
Okay.
And I scared the hell out of this man. And frankly, I dropped the towels. I'm like, oh my God. And we're both saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry for barging on you. I'm sorry I shouldn't have been here so early. I'm sorry for spilling your towels. I'm sorry I have to, let me help you refold them. It was hilarious because we were just both stammering at each other. And seriously, I think I scared a few years of life out of him because I don't think he was expecting a door to be like literally kicked open.
Yeah. You could have been like a SWAT kill team.
Yeah. And he was very sweet, very gracious. He helped me fold the towels. I put the towels down and I told him, I said, we'll get the rest of the things to you immediately. We weren't expecting you this soon. And he's like, no, it's on me. And he kept apologizing to me, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. The only reason he would have had to apologize when I should have been there only later, but you don't apologize for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny though. He was there literally 3 hours before he was supposed to. I don't know if someone dropped him off and went to the hotel and then came and picked him back up. Nothing, because I did what I had to do and I left for the day because I was mortified. So I didn't work backstage the rest of the time, but I went to the show that night. We always get comp tickets.
Okay.
So, and he did somewhat mention it, like, had a fun interaction this afternoon,
As you're slinking into your
just
seat.
like, oh God. And he's like, word of advice, stick to your schedule. And I'm just like, well, I'm going to die now. Have a nice day. So.
Was it a nice show?
It was. He was excellent. It was in the mid 90s and he was doing his like New Orleans based music.
Okay.
And it was good. I've never seen him before. He really wasn't on my radar. And then I saw that show and I actually went out and bought the album. I think it was called She.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good.
Okay.
So it was really like Cajun music.
Now I can only imagine had he had a really horrible show the entire evening because he would have been so shaken up by the interaction earlier that day.
Yeah. I think if he would have been in another state of undress, if you know what I mean, I think things would have been a lot worse.
Yes.
So at least he was covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Harry Connick Jr. in his underwear. That's the takeaway.
That's a decent claim to fame, you could say.
uh,
Nice.
I'd love to like tweet at him and be like, "Hey, do you remember?" Because I'm sure he blocked it out.
Was it, during the New Orleans, it wasn't at the height of his popularity, but he was up there, right?
He was there.
Okay.
He was climbing because
Okay.
he had those two albums before where he sort of sounded like Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
That was before that.
Okay.
So people knew who he was.
Okay. And I mean, it's a bit surprising because he didn't have an entourage or anything like that.
Not that, and I don't know if he has some sort of
Not handler, but like
or a ritual where he just wanted to be alone a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, well, no one's going to bother me. No one knows I'm even here. You know, I'll go in and take a shower and meditate and just get a feel of a lay of the land, maybe. And then I don't know if handlers showed up later or if he left. I have no idea. But he was there. He was completely alone.
Okay. He will lock the door next time.
I had the key, man. I unlocked the door.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true.
He probably puts a damn dresser in front of the door now.
Yes, yes. Or like probably ask for a do not disturb sign.
I'm sure there's something in the writers now. Must knock before entering, you know.
Exactly.
But in my defense, I literally thought that room was empty.
No, I mean, it's normal. I would have thought the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And did you ever consider tweeting at him and trying to ask if he remembers that?
I should ask him. I should tweet him and ask him.
I mean, I don't want to like push you in any direction, but like...
I think I replied to one of his tweets once, like mentioning it, but I really didn't push. And I should just tweet at him because it would be funny. So, and I've always thought to myself, I should tweet at Tim McGraw too and ask him about, you know, his near-death experience.
Yes.
In my van.
Yes, absolutely. Stay tuned for maybe the follow-up to that, to these. All right, so we got now number 4, I think, right?
Yeah.
All
now,
right.
Number 4, I am just going to tell some short stories, like a little grouping, also concerning being part of the entertainment committee. But it's sort of interesting, especially bands and publicity and their writers and things like that. There was a band. I was the secretary of the committee, so I was on the board. And I was dating the president. Not the reason I was on the board, folks.
That was my next question.
No nepotism here. And there was a band, the president, I'll call him, really liked, and that was Sebado.
Okay.
And that's Lou Barlow and someone else. But he loved this band, and they were touring, and he convinced the committee to hire them, to have them do a show there. And he was over the moon. But the rest of the committee was like, you know what? This is your show, man. We're not helping. We're not doing anything.
Was it because no one knew that band, or?
No one gave a shit.
Okay.
And they were so small, we didn't use our auditorium. We sort of coupled with another committee that runs a smaller general admission area. So obviously after the meeting, he comes up to me. He's like, "You're going to help me with this, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine." So, and I still have them. I'll have to find them and scan them. We did our own little ads. Okay. So we did ads and flyers. We called radio stations to do ticket giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
We've handled everything: hospitality, security, the whole 9 yards. And we got their rider. And one thing in the rider was they wanted a dozen bottles, small little bottles of ginseng extract.
Okay.
Okay. Now, today, I can go anywhere to get this.
Yeah.
In the middle of Illinois, in farm country, where you don't really have internet, not the way you have it today. I remember seeing this and going, holy shit, where the hell am I going to find this? And I literally had to take the yellow pages out and call health food stores and say, do you have ginseng extract? I need 12 bottles. Nobody local had it. And I had to drive to the University of Illinois, which was 45 minutes away, to a health food store there to get it. And it was not cheap either. And I remember going back to the school like 2 days before the concert. Thank God we got this rider early.
Mm-hmm.
When we signed the contract, we got the rider with the contract, obviously. And I remember driving back and looking at these little bottles, and I'm like, oh, here's the keys to the kingdom, Lou Barlow's ginseng. And we set up the dressing rooms, and I put like the box of ginseng like front and center, like, here it is, man. We did the whole rider. Here's your ginseng. Fucker didn't touch it, didn't take it with him, nothing. When they left, it was still there, untouched.
Jesus.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And it's just like, even if you didn't need it at the time, you put it in your rider, just take it. So the people who like moved heaven and earth to find this crap thinks it was worth it. That was so disappointing. But on the other hand, they did a great show. It had pretty good turnout, actually.
Okay.
So we did a good job, just the two of us. So I'll pat myself on the back for that. But
well done.
Anytime I see ginseng extract at a store, I start cracking up. And it's been since the mid-90s. So,
They probably heard about the Van Halen and their M&M's thing.
Yeah.
Probably thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, there's the extract. That means they read the writer. Well, I wish they'd pick something less expensive and easier to get, because holy crap, that was hard.
Good point.
Yeah, like how about a dozen red roses with one white one or something like that, something.
There you go.
Oh, man. So that was Sebado. Another band that came through was Live.
Oh, okay.
And I was their production runner, but I must have I just sat there all day. They didn't need me for squat.
Huh.
There was a rumor, and it looked like it was true, but I didn't know. I should look this up one day. But there was a rumor that their mothers came on this tour, and they were like craft services.
Huh.
So they had a food spread that you would not believe. This band from York, Pennsylvania, doing a college tour, and they had this great food spread, and they just didn't need anything. And right before the show, the bass player runs up to me and stuffs like $100 in my hand, and he said, "You need to get me a cord."
Oh.
And I'm like, what? He's like I'm like, you don't have an extra cord? Who does, but something happened. It was lost or broken, and he didn't have a right one. And he wrote down the kind he wanted. And he's just like, I need it now. I was like,
Jesus.
Because all day I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and, half hour to showtime, I have to run out and buy an amp cord for his bass. I found one, thank God. The nice thing about, college towns, they do have a lot of music stores.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was able to go right to downtown Normal and find it. And they did have the kind he wanted, but
wow,
pressure's on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could have found something, because they do a lot of productions at that auditorium. I'm sure there was something somewhere that we could have used in a pinch, but yeah, I got it under the
Wow.
wire.
Well done.
It was scary. And it was just funny because I was like, this one's a cakewalk, I'm just sitting here, like I said, literally twiddling my thumbs. And they wouldn't let me have any of the food either.
Oh, that sucks.
Because I was like eyeballing it, and I said to someone walking by, and I'm like, hey, can I get a cupcake or something? And they're just like, talent only. I'm like, screw you, jeez.
Yeah, that's shitty.
That was.
For most of the story, I thought, okay, so those guys are pretty cool. They take care of their own stuff. And, the guy walks up to you and, gives you $100. I honestly thought that was just like, keep up the good work, but no,
Yeah, that's
not at all.
Give me a cord. And who knows what their policy was about the food. This was just one of their little entourage girls saying it to me. So who knows what their...
True.
I think if I would have said to the bass player, hey, I got you your cord, can I have a cupcake? He would have been like, have the whole damn thing. I don't care.
Yes. Yeah, true. I mean, I know that band, of course, but I know nothing about them. I only remember that the singer was in Fight Club. He had a small part. Yeah, he was
Ed Kowalski, I believe his name is.
Kowalski, something like that. He was one of the waiters.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he had like all kinds of bruises and cuts and all that. But like, I don't know if they are assholes or not. The members, their reputation, I don't know at all.
They seemed nice. They seemed to just keep to themselves.
Okay.
They weren't divas. They weren't demanding.
Okay.
I honestly think the bass player was more freaking out that they were just about to go on, and this cord either like broke or was missing or defected or something. And he saw me sitting there, and he knew that I was the one that had to make things happen. So, and I did, thank God. And my cousin, I have family in Pennsylvania. My cousin went to high school with 3 of them.
Ah, okay.
And he never said anything bad about them. So I think they kept to themselves.
Okay. That's always reassuring when you hear good stories about celebrities.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of always disappointing when you hear about someone, throwing a hissy fit about nothing, you know, but.
Yeah, especially if it's, someone who hired you.
Yes.
It's just
that's
like,
true.
If you think about it, we were the bosses. We hired them.
Yes.
So most of the time we were treated very well. And we were very professional. I liked Live at that time. I liked them a lot. I lobbied for them to come, but I did not run up to them. I didn't get an autograph. I didn't ask for pictures. You don't do it. You don't. One of the big rules was you don't talk to them unless you're spoken to first. You don't approach them, which is good because they didn't want people on the committee that were just fanboys or fangirls that were going to interfere.
Yeah.
Right before I joined the committee was when Smashing Pumpkins and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam played at my school.
Oh, wow.
And because of that concert is why there were all of a sudden so many openings for the entertainment committee, because a few people lost their full minds and broke protocol and got kicked out of the committee.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have done because I loved Eddie Vedder.
Okay.
So I probably would have passed out.
I thought you were going to say I probably would have lost that job at the committee. Nope. You passed out.
I probably just would have passed out and then lost a job at a committee because when I came to, I'd probably just jump on him or something like totally unprofessional. But I held it together because for Live, Love Spit Love opened for Live, and that was Richard Butler from the Psychedelic Furs.
Okay.
And 80s Lisa loves the Psychedelic Furs. And I held my shit together for that too. So
nice.
It can be done.
And after the show, same deal. You don't walk up to them and ask for an autograph, not even after the show. Okay.
No. No. I could have, I think I could have gotten away with it with Tim McGraw,
Yes.
but I still didn't.
Okay.
I pulled up to the hotel and told him have a great night, and we enjoyed having him, and that was that. I was his driver. I wasn't a fangirl. And then as
True.
I drove away, I'm like, I bet I could have gotten an autograph, but didn't even think about it.
I could only imagine the autograph. He's still white as a ghost. His hands shaking.
It's all shaky.
Yeah, exactly. Like chicken scratch.
I show people now, look, this is Tim McGraw's autograph, and it looks like a heart,
Yes.
graph.
Like drips of sweat next to it.
Oh, he was fine after we didn't die. It's okay.
Nice. Jesus.
Another quick rider story was Buddy Guy played at our little auditorium. And we were thinking this is going to be easy because he's from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
We're like, he's going to hop on a bus or hop in a car, come down, do the show, and just go right back home again. It's an hour and a half from Chicago. Okay. So we're thinking he's not going to need much. And he really didn't. His rider was super simple. I think he wanted a stool, a mic stand, a chair off stage so he can sit before he came out.
Mm-hmm.
But what tripped us up is he wanted a brandy glass.
Huh. Okay.
And
not a bottle, just a glass.
Just a glass. I guess he brought his own.
Yes, probably.
He brought his own bottle, but he wanted the special curved brandy.
Okay, but like you guys weren't of drinking age back then, right? Okay, yes. Okay, yes.
And any bar or even the catering area of the school, they had regular, they had highball glasses and whiskey glasses, but not these brandy glasses. It was like, holy hell, how are we going to find, a glass? And we weren't even thinking of going to the store or the mall and trying to find one to buy because that would have been too expensive.
Okay.
Some of them can, you're thinking like Waterford makes some, they're pretty damn fancy.
Okay.
And I ended up, there's a mansion in town that rents out their area for parties and weddings. And I was like, this is the swankiest joint I know. Okay. I'm going to call them. And I called them and I told them what I needed. And they're like, sure, come on by. We'll give you one for the night.
Nice.
And it was just so funny because I was like, really? This guy has the simplest contract and rider ever. And we're like tripping over ourselves to get a glass. And, went and got it for him. And sure enough, he did. He came with his own bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say he was drunk, but maybe. He still performed. The man was excellent. He's still, I don't know now if he's still performing because of COVID times, but he has a bar in Chicago called Buddy Guy's Legends, and he would perform quite a bit.
Okay.
I know he's up there in age. So in the 90s, he was older, but he was still, he was still ripping it up, and he sold out the show. So, and it was, I don't know how many people can fit in we had two auditoriums. We had the arena, the Redbird Arena, which was the big one where our basketball games were and everything. And that's where like Pearl Jam was and those guys, and Tim McGraw was there. That's where our big people are. And then we had Braden Auditorium, which was a little smaller. I'm going to guess 2,000 people.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, not giant, but not tiny either. And he sold that out. So that was good. That was a good show because he was very professional. Well, except for drinking. But and right after the show, he like shook our hands, clapped us on the shoulder, and he's like, I had fun. And then he was gone. He got in his car and went back home. So it's like, all right, easiest show ever. I don't even think he wanted a dressing room. He just rolled up, did his thing, and then rolled back out again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the simple riders. Was it the simplest?
His was the simplest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember the most complicated?
You know, it might have been Tim McGraw's.
Ah, okay.
But I was not on the hospitality committee for him. But I remember they were hustling. And I think it was because he wanted like trays of sandwiches and things to feed his crew.
Ah, okay.
So he wanted a lot of snacks.
Okay.
And so people were hustling for that. Buddy Guy was very easy. And we also had James Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the hospitality crew saying it was easy. He was easy too.
Okay.
I did not work his show at all.
Okay.
I was like, nah, I don't want to work with that guy. Not a big James Taylor fan either. In fact, I didn't even go to the show. I got comp tickets and gave them away.
I would have done the same, to be honest.
Yeah. Ooh, another hot take.
But okay, so you had the choice of working or not with. I didn't know that. Okay, I thought you were like assigned this or this and that one and not that one and so on.
Yeah, it was on a volunteer basis. So we would have our meetings, and when a show started coming up, once the contract was signed, then people could volunteer for what they wanted to do.
Okay.
And there was hospitality, security, publicity, and like production runner.
Okay.
I never did security. That usually was the same group of guys because they had to work with vendors and the police and security with the school police and school security.
Okay.
So they had more of a vibe with them. They had their own thing going on. I didn't like publicity that much because, like I said, by nature, I'm somewhat shy. Mm-hmm. And the thought of picking up a phone and calling into a radio station and hyping a show, I broke out in hives, dude. No way. So I usually did hospitality or production running. And I did hospitality a handful of times. I was mainly a runner because, I proved it, man. I got shit they needed and I got shit done, damn it.
Yeah.
So
exactly. There you go.
If people jumped on a lot of things, if you wanted to bow out, you could. Like James Taylor was a cakewalk from what I understood. He was sort of like Buddy Guy. He rolled in, did his thing. He's seasoned. You know, you got these people who've been on the road for years and years and years. You don't need to have college students tripping over themselves to kiss your ass, you know. Yes. And he rolled in, did his thing, and it was a pretty laid back show. They didn't need a lot of people. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out. Yeah. I have no desire to do any of this.
And do you remember the show or shows that all the slots filled up instantly because like, oh, I want to work on that one?
Live went pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim McGraw went pretty fast.
Okay. So how many people would those shows need total?
Tim McGraw needed a lot because that was an arena show.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that was all hands on deck. That was all committee members were working that show. And I think even because we have a staff partner, obviously you had an advisor running it. And I think our advisor had to work too.
Okay.
That was a big production. And for that Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers one, that was also all hands on deck. And I think advisors and staff had to show up when the committee members completely lost their minds. Because I think they were escorted out, a few of them. They didn't even finish the night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you always had staff to back up in case, you know, the shit hit the fan. But
so how many people were there on the committee total? When you say all hands on deck, that means 25 people or?
I think there were 12 of us.
Okay.
12 of us, and we had a few alternates that they didn't have to go to meetings. They weren't part of the decision process, but if we needed them, we could call them. So they were sort of like, at-large members. And there were
Okay.
maybe like 5 or 6 of them. So for Tim, it was all of us plus the at-large.
Okay.
And that was mainly for hospitality and security.
All right. Okay. So, do you have another short story of the?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'll mention it, but I didn't have much interaction with her. But
Mhm.
Cheryl Crow
Yes, please.
was at ISU. It was right after she won her Grammy. So with our meetings, the advisor would say, okay, this is who's on tour. Here are their prices. Here's when they could come. And then we would map out, the quarter. And our advisor was really pushing for Cheryl. I think she liked her, was a fan of hers.
Okay.
Because nobody on the committee was really, we were like, she's not, obviously she won a Grammy. She's a fantastic songwriter, singer, musician, the whole bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's not college radio, college student material. She really isn't.
Yeah, true.
And we were all like, ugh. And our advisor was like, come on, she just won a Grammy, blah, blah, blah. So we said, fine. And her fee was a little high, but we were like, screw this. We got to get people in the seats. We're not looking to make a lot of money. So we offered really reasonable tickets for this show.
Okay.
We were not looking to we did not have, big margins for this one. So we're like, okay, let's fill the seats. We're looking to break even at least, We lost so much money. We didn't even fill half of the seats.
Wow.
The day of, we were giving away tickets to try to get people to fill the seats.
Jesus.
And like when people came in and said, oh, I'm up in section, blah, blah, blah. We're like, oh, here, move down. We were moving people down. We were filling seats. It was, we knew it was going to happen. We knew it. And we were like yelling at the advisor. We're like, we knew this was going to happen. Because each day we were like checking ticket sales. And we're like, we're losing money. So part of me wonders if she knew this. I don't know if she knew ticket sales were bad. I don't, because she got her money regardless, whether it sold out or not. She got her fee.
Can I be really rude? I know speaking about money is kind of taboo, but
yeah.
What ballpark are we talking about here?
In my college scrapbook, I have a price list.
Okay.
Don't quote me. I think at that time she was $15,000.
Okay.
Which today's standards, not that much. But back then for college, it was a lot. It was either between 15 or 22.
Okay.
It was something like that.
And this was in 1990.
I want to say 4 or 5.
Okay.
Because that's when I was really involved with them. It was
okay.
my last 2 years of college. So we lost money on that. And she was going cheap. And I think that's why the advisor also, she was cheaper than a lot of the other things. I think they were just trying to get more publicity for her because she just won the Grammy. So let's get her out on the road. But like I said, not college material. She, not to sound elitist or like an asshole, but she had no business being there. She really didn't. I think the people who were there were more locals than college students.
Okay.
So as I was saying, I don't know if she knew this or anything, but when she showed up, she was nasty. She had a nasty attitude. She was standoffish. She was rude.
Oh, wow.
She was very snippy. You could tell that is the last fucking place she wanted to be. Bar none.
Yeah.
Because we're always there to greet, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm your runner today. here's your days, there's like a concierge, someone's there to say. And she walked right by us, did not acknowledge us, told her manager to tell us to leave her alone. And we're like, we're not even fans of yours, bitch. We're not here. I don't know what she thought we were. I don't know if her management didn't tell her she was at a college where the entertainment was run by the students. I don't know if there was a communication breakdown, but she was not pleasant. She walked through us like her shit didn't stink, and we were little peons, and we could not talk directly to her. We could not look at her. We could not acknowledge her.
Jesus.
She came out, did her sound check, went back into her bus. She didn't go into her dressing room, which we had all set up for her, per her rider. Didn't even go in there. So she makes Lou Barlow seem like a peach. She came out of her bus again, did the show. Now I will say, I'm going to give her full credit. As soon as she hit that stage, she was professional. She turned it on. She was great with the audience. She sang wonderfully. She did her thing. She earned that, we paid her to perform. She came and performed perfectly.
Okay.
No problems, no attitude, no nothing. The minute she stepped off the stage, super bitch, get out of my way, got on her bus, and we literally did not interact with this woman. We saw her twice going from the bus to the stage, and that was it. Really put a bad taste in my mouth.
Understandable.
I could not believe, and I know there's other people like this, but I could not believe she was like this to the people who hired her.
Yep.
You hear people are rude with fans and they don't want to be bothered and all that kind of crap. But the fact that she was rude to a group of people who were there professionally to literally cater to her, you think she'd be nice because we were ready to kiss her ass like we do with everybody else, but nope. So,
wow.
That was Cheryl.
Okay.
Don't like Cheryl. And she could have been having a horrible day, but holy cow, don't take it out on people.
Yeah, both parts of that statement are 100% true. Maybe she got some bad news 30 seconds before stepping off the bus,
Yeah,
who knows?
It could have been. And the thing was, her management made no excuses for her. So if I was having a horrible day and I was about to perform, I would have my manager say, you know what? Apologize to these people. Just tell them I am having the worst day ever. My dog just got hit by a Mack truck. I have diarrhea. I don't care what excuse it is, but throw us a bone. I mean, her management said nothing. They were completely on board with her behavior and offered no excuses. They didn't even try to smooth it over. They were just as rude as she was.
So that means that they are used to that, and that means that it's always like this.
Exactly.
So that's shitty.
So
wow.
Don't like Ms. Crow.
Yeah, I can understand that absolutely. And it's always difficult to, and I know that we are doing a side over tangent, but it's always difficult to, and that goes for sports too, to separate the person from the art.
Mm-hmm.
And you always wonder where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Guys, for example, I don't know, first example that came to mind is Clapton, not a great person. Separating the person from what they do, art or work or sport performance or whatever. That's a delicate line that each of us has to figure out for themselves.
Right. Well, especially if you meet someone and they're nasty and you're not really or don't know their music. Like Cheryl's not my genre.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have listened to her music. I could have enjoyed it. I could have appreciated it. But now, I don't care.
Yeah.
she can put something out that opens the heavens and make angels come down and bless us all. And I will not listen to it because she was that vile to us.
Jesus.
And we were saying even sports people. So this will be my wrap up because I wanna leave it on a high note.
Okay.
When I was at Motorola, we sponsored a lot of people, and we sponsored Indie Racing League,
Mhm.
and Danica Patrick came to visit us.
Okay.
And it was so funny because she literally spoke maybe 20 feet from my cube. So I was able just to walk up and like just go right there and sit in front of her. And it was a little office auditorium type thing. And you see her on TV and you know I'll say the word feisty. You know she can be a little feisty,
Mhm.
especially on race day. And I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm like, is she going to be a little bitchy? Or is she going to be, sweet wasn't the word I was thinking she was going to be, obviously. Now, I know you're going to be a lot nicer when you're on the property of your sponsor.
Yes.
You go into sponsor mode. But she did her little spiel and she took questions and she was being really pleasant, very professional. She knew her shit. But of course, like I said, there's that facade. You're wondering, okay, she's in, sponsor mode. And she was about to leave. And she's like, well, I'm going to be late. And my sister worked with me at the time. And my sister called up. She's like, well, that's okay. You can just speed.
Okay.
Like,
What?
like
That's a good
you
joke.
can drive. You can get to Chicago in, 10 minutes from here the way you drive. And she stopped and she's like, let's talk about that. And everything dropped because now it's over. A lot of people are leaving.
Mhm.
And she had this whole conversation pretty much with my sister in the audience about, even though, her profession is race car driving and speed and stuff. She was talking about how she actually drives in real life and how she sometimes goes under the speed limit and she's a very careful driver. And then she was talking about other drivers, about how they don't drive in real life than they do on the track, and they're actually very careful and they don't take risks and they very law abiding. And it was just enough of a peek behind the curtain where I was like, I like her.
Mhm.
And beforehand, I like I've talked before, I love the Indie Racing League. I always thought she was a little too aggressive. I think she was overcompensating a little bit because she was in a man's sport, so she had to come out a little louder and a little tougher.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, and I wish she didn't have to do that, but she
Yeah.
did. She came out a little, a little off-putting sometimes. And after this, I was like, all right, she's cool. I like her. And the fact that she's like, no, literally, I am out of time. I mean, she was already late, but the fact that she stopped and got reeled back into a conversation when she could have just been like, nope, time's up, bye. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Motorola, David Beckham was also part of the Motorola sponsorship, and he walked by me once.
Okay.
He was on his way to like a town hall with the employees, and I was going the opposite way because I was just visiting facility and I didn't even know he was going to be there. And we passed in the hallway and sort of like brushed shoulders, and I turned the corner and like just collapsed against. So I'm like, I just touched David Beckham. But that's about as far as that went.
If I remember, he is not. Well, I mean, of course, he's an athlete, so he is, extremely fit. But he is not.
He is not a big man.
Yeah, he's like 5'10", maybe.
I'm gonna look it up because he's very thin.
Yes.
But I think he was shorter than 5'10".
Okay.
I am Googling it right now, boys and girls.
So am I.
Because
5'11".
Wow.
Or so it says.
Okay, he's lying his ass off. That is a lie. You heard
Okay.
it here first.
Probably had like a platform or shoe lifts or whatever.
Yeah, he's full of crap. David, if you're ever listening, please contact me. I would like to measure your height and other things if Victoria lets me.
All right. Okay, so I got my soundbite for this episode. Okay, so assuming that many people didn't, I mean, he was already a big name back then, so everybody knew who he was, even those who didn't follow soccer back then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I was the only woman on campus that was not going to that, and it was only because I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. There were posters of him everywhere. He was part of the Razor campaign.
Ah, okay.
And people were losing their full minds over him.
Nice.
Just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. So was that anecdote number 5 or?
Oh, I don't know. I think I reached the end of my my stories. I just wanted to leave it a high point. I didn't want to leave it with Cheryl because Cheryl's not a high point, and I don't want to come off as catty or vindictive or bitchy. So I'll leave it at a high note. Most of my encounters are generally good.
No, that's okay. That's good. That's good to know first, and that's positive as well because there is so much shit going on that we can use all the positivity that we can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so I guess this is the end of part 3. Lisa, I know we did that at the end of part 2, but we will do it again. Where can we reach you online?
The best place, of course, is Twitter, and my handle is ALA005.
Awesome. So thank you so much for your time. It is very much appreciated.
Thank you. It was fun talking to you.
Oh, awesome. And thank you everyone for listening. We will talk again on the next one. Thanks.